Hi, today I'll be talking about the runes. It's a beautiful sunny day here and I hope you're all well. So anyway, runes. Okay, what are they? Well, they're a form of writing, angular shapes and things, but they have a dual purpose, whereas our kind of writing is just merely to inform, you read, etc. The runes had a magical thing as well. Odin is said to have discovered the runes. Sorry about the noise, um, but he's said to have discovered the runes while he hung on the Yggdrasil, the world tree, impaled by a spear. So there are various types of runic alphabet, or as we like to call it, futhark. Why do we call them a futhark? That's because the first letters spell out futhark whenever they're written out. We talk about today ABC, so alphabet, futhark. They come in various forms. You can see that there must have been some form of literacy in as much as you find tags like tent pegs. These are property tags, and they say Bragi's property or whatever, stuck into a bale of wool or something. You find them hidden away, seemingly spelling nonsense, or they're magical ones. These are spells or influences that you wish to occur. So you've got that, but also it's amazing. Into the Christian age, you'd think that they would completely vanish, but you look on things like the Ruthwell Cross, you'll find a runic inscription down the side of it there, and it'll be in praise of Christianity. My last count, there was at least 56 variations on the runic futhark. I'm more familiar with what's called the Elder Futhark, early times, and eventually it even got down to about 5 or 6 different characters. Whether they were runes or just natural fishes in the material, I don't know. Better minds than mine will be able to say that. And as I say, it was an amazing thing. You still see them. People today, I mean, I cast runes. A friend of mine, she is an expert rune caster. Just got a nice drink of water. Have a quick
I can
drink
tell on camera now.
Mm.
I'm not wearing modern clothing.
Well, normally. I'm just going to put the water down. Oops, quite interesting. So, oh yes, a pouch within a pouch, which of course has got runes. How do we know what a rune looks like? Well, I'm about to show you. Inside this linen bag, you find angular runes. They're all angular lines in the Elder Futhark. This particular one is Anglo-Saxon, which has 30 plus runes because of the dialect. But they're on angular lines because they're carved in wood, stone, and even leather. Paper was or parchment was very, very rarely seen. They would be kept in a bag, and you also would have a cloth to cast upon. There are references in the sagas. I'm sorry to not look at the camera, I've got to put this back. Hang on. Who is that masked man? I'll just hand him back the runes here. It looks like he's getting tooled up for something. But having said that, some weapons have been found with runic inscriptions on them. Swords were given names.
Egbert is one.
Was it increased to pain is one, and things like that. But it was thought that the runes gave magical powers to the weapon. Okay, sorry about that. So runes were used in jewellery, they were used on weapons. One of the reasons when you were courting, you were not allowed to give jewellery because you could be hidden runes in there. You couldn't have poetry, written or spoken, because there are runes hidden in that. In other words, you had to have a witness there as well. They very much feared the fact that you might be casting a spell on the woman, just have you either way with it. You can see the point. So where are we with runes today? Well,
Can I just ask a question before I answer that?
sure.
So, just something in relation to runes and Vikings. The other day on TikTok, somebody asked a question: how do we know that the Vikings actually cast the runes, and is there any evidence for this?
Did the Vikings cast runes? Yeah, they did. It'll be in the sagas, Njál's saga, I believe. They talk about rune casting, but it's worth a look. Also, runes didn't die out with the Vikings. It was actually illegal in Iceland, punishable by death if you cast the runes, and yet when they advertised for a priest, he had to be able to read the runes. Double standards, maybe. But anyway, happily that era has passed, and there is an official Icelandic rune caster. I never met them, but and today there are runic religions, runic casting. I myself cast runes. I have a very good friend, and she's excellent rune caster. Just stuck my finger on this sharp bit on the stick.
It's not going to kill you.
But it's amazing, you know. People say, "Oh, it's all superstition," but I mean, how many people check their stars in the paper, or don't walk under ladders, or avoid black cats? It's, if you believe in it and it works, go for it. That's why this is why I do it. I found that the Norse religion and the runes work for me. I'm not saying they'll work for everybody, because they won't. But anyway, all I can say is keep casting.
What would you call the modern equivalent of the rune today? Tarot?
There are various. I mean, you've got various things. They all stem back apparently to ancient Egypt. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I don't care. But the tarot and the runes are similar. I don't do. It's something you either do or you don't. It's like, if you do the tarot, you might find it very hard to do the runes, and I find the tarot gives me a headache. But you can date that way back to the ancient Egyptians. I mean, whether that is, I don't know. I mean, it's generally accepted that the occult all stems from ancient Egypt. I don't know whether it does or not. You bet your life there was some caveman before that. I don't know. Maybe you know. There's into it. But there are what we call traditions.
So we have two people watching at the moment, Egil.
Yeah.
So
Hi.
just say hello, and let them know what we're talking about in this
Well,
live stream.
we're talking about the runes. We're talking about the historical side, and I don't know, the esoteric, I suppose, is the other way. If you've got a comment, let us know. It'd be really nice to hear you out there. But no, as I say, I mean, it's horses for courses. I have people who come for rune casting. Today, I mean, I had a lady last night who came over and wanted to know certain answers to questions, and you know, I obliged. I get people who want to know things, and the thing I find difficult is if I want to find out something about me, I have to get a friend to do it for me. She's very good at what she does, and I've avoided grief on a number of occasions thanks to her being able to interpret the runes. I do runes for her, she does runes for me. But it's a fascinating subject. I know that at York, whether they'll do it this year or not, I don't know, they have a festival, and as a festival there are rune casters. Go and have a go, you never know.
So we've got two comments here. First of all, comes from Daniel Howes.
Hi Daniel.
And he says, hello, Egil and Bragi.
Cheers.
So just see him, there we go. And we have a comment here from Sir Andre Lefray-Delanage, who's a good friend of the channel.
Hi Andre.
And he says, greetings, brother, from a, give me a second, I was trying to get the chat up. Hang on.
Can't get stuff nowadays.
It says, greetings, brother, from a sunny Margate.
Oh right, Margate, that's Ken.
And we've got 4 people watching.
Oh.
So don't forget to go and share this live stream. I can't appear on camera, so hello.
Margate. I've been to Margate. I was actually born in Rochester in Kent.
Cool.
So, you know, beautiful county, beautiful people. So, yeah, nice to hear from you.
One day we will travel on the channel, but
Oh,
it's just a
yeah.
little bit difficult with the situation in the world and
Well,
my situation being stuck at home caring for my dad, Magna.
Well, it's good to see that Magnar is still with us. He's a little bit confused at times, but he's a happy bunny, and that's what matters.
Yeah, I'll turn this around, you can see the camera there, Egil. Wait a minute. What I've got to do is figure out, here we go. So, oh, that's, oh, look at that, you're just seeing the house.
Oh.
Behind the scenes is not meant to see. It's not easy to turn the camera around at the same time,
Okay.
so you can see the screen. Here we go. So,
Ooh, who's that gorgeous boy?
just hang on, I'm just adjusting the screen.
Can't see a damn thing.
Well, it's probably called the sun.
Yeah, it's darker than the dark.
I'll fetch the chair in a minute and I'll sit
Yeah.
by you. But I'm here.
Okay. I'll hold the water.
This is why we need a team of professional people to work with us,
Any volunteers?
especially from the Derby area. So what we're talking about in this live stream, first of all, we're testing to see whether we can live stream outside. So if somebody can let us know what the quality looks like on the camera, I think it should be okay. And I'll go and find a chair.
At the moment, all I can see is a black oblong. I can't see anything. But I can see some movement. But it's just due to the weather. But while he goes and fetches a chair, as I say, I hope you find this interesting. I found runes fascinating from quite an age ago. I mean, there's two ways you can look at it. There's academic works on it, quite a few, which mean nothing to me, and there's a lot of esoteric work. And like everything else, you've got to sort the wheat from the chaff. There are books out there that are well worth reading. There are other ones I wouldn't even put on a fire back because they're pointless. But my particular book I got started on was the runic workbook by Tony Willis, which is sensible for me. It worked for me.
I guess to a degree you're a little bit out of date with rune books. Would that be a fair comment?
Pretty much. Once you've learnt it, you book starts you off on. It's like driving. You pass your test, and then you learn to drive after that. Dabbed in various personality clashes. No names, no pack drill. But I was taught quite a lot, and I went, there are courses available to take it the next step on, and it's up to you. You can do it as an academic thing. If you're into the occult, fine.
So you got into the runes, you become a bit of a rune caster. How do you become a rune master?
Keep doing it.
Is this something you may achieve one day? Do you call yourself a rune master?
I have been technically. There are different. I did the basic course with the book, and then there was a correspondence course, which is, I'm afraid, no longer available, which was brilliant. Went into depth, and you become what's called a Viking, which is sort of like a priest. I mean, there is another rank up from that, but I haven't seen any courses. But I did the course. It took me over 18 months, but you know, you go as fast and or as slow as you want. Yeah, I found it very illuminating, and if you've got any sort of qualms or you feel that there's someone, let's put it this way, if you've got a weakness, it'll find it, and I felt as though I'd gone through a lot, but I've come out the other end. There are do's and don'ts, obviously, but you know, anybody who's interested in it, do it. But I mean, they talk about, you're just talking about modern takes. Well, no, and there's a way of doing things, and the way of approaching things hasn't changed since the year dot. Obviously, you don't end up doing human sacrifice and things like that. That's in the past, thank goodness. But you, not only do you read about the Viking runes, read about customs today. You know, you've got to be at one with yourself, and if you're screwed up, you can't expect to help other people. One thing I do say, when people come to you normally, it means they're at the end of their tether, they've tried everything else. And I'll tell you what, you're not. You're not a psychiatrist, you're not a doctor. And if anybody's come with a major problem or a problem like that, you say, go and see your doctor. It's not up to you to do that, you're not qualified.
So how did the Vikings use runes then?
Oh well, I mean, of course, in those days you didn't have. They were the doctors, the philosophers, and everything else, the psychiatrists. You know, they were the advisors to
The rune casters.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to know, was it wise to go and raid Olaf? You cast it and you say, no, it isn't, or yes, it is. Or it'd be more ambiguous, like, there will be a death. You say, whose death, mine or theirs? That's for you to find out. But today, yeah, I mean, please, know where you're at. You're there, you give advice, that's all. You're not a doctor, you know, you're not a psychiatrist. There are plenty of people out there qualified. If somebody comes to you with a problem like that, just say, look, see a doctor. I've had this case before. Somebody was telling me that, well, I won't go into details, but they were basically saying they needed medical help. Well, they had obviously got mental problems. And I said, look, forget me, go and see a psychiatrist. You can go on the National Health. And it's not a matter of failure, it's what you are, you know. It's like me going up to an aeroplane saying, oh yes, I'll do ruins, so I'll fly an aeroplane. I can't fly an aeroplane. I'm the first idea. I'm no more a psychiatrist than this wooden stump next to the camera.
We can't see that,
No.
but that's a good little segue to talk about something else. So let's talk about, you know, in the days of the Anglos and the Vikings, why did they go raiding? What was the purpose of that? Good bit of history for you folks.
With the Vikings, imagine you, well, in my family, we have 4 boys and a sister. My father, imagine him dead, well he is dead, he would leave everything to his eldest son. He would portion out a bit for his mother, the rest of us, nothing. Now, if you can imagine Norway, you've got little strips of land around the river which are fertile, the rest is ice and snow. So, what would I do as the youngest son? Well, I would take what I've got. The next long ship go out to the fjord, we would go out and we would take wealth. The monasteries we knew are rich, and it's guarded by men in horse blankets who make excellent slaves, as do the nuns.
Very obedient.
Yeah, well also they don't fight back.
Well, yes,
So you go over, biff a nun or two.
they're doing the Hollywood movies.
Well, I mean, it was in reality. I mean, you rob them blind, you take anything that's gold or silver, take a few slaves away, and then you've made some money. And then you can set a farm up, and eventually you think, well, this place called Anglo-land, nice and green, stays light for most of the year. I'm going to stay here, and hence we have the, I suppose, the Viking invasions. The Saxons started out pretty much the same after the Roman. I would imagine it was easier because the Romano-British, excuse me, were so used to the Roman army's protection, gone. So they just dived in and took what they wanted. It's the name of the game. So yeah, I mean, the sad thing is history is always written by the winners. The Norse didn't really write much down, and they're always portrayed as evil, horrible men. They were just farmers who were good at what they did.
Was raiding to be considered a sport of the elite, would you say? Was it available to the common man,
It's available.
the common Viking?
There was a checklist of things you had to have on a raid.
Yes.
There was bow and arrows, there was an axe. Well, not everybody can afford a sword. Everybody thinks these mad wielding sword. A sword would be a very expensive commodity, but you would have, say, an axe. There we go. Nice axe. Or you have a big knife, called the scrammer axe or wound knife.
Well, axe.
Yeah.
Scram was only ever used once.
Okay, well,
So it's one of those terms which can get you into trouble in the contents that there's just not enough evidence. And what does it actually mean, scram? Because there's no context or word that goes back with scram with wound. So can it mean like short? It's all open to debate in my mind what it actually means.
that being said,
Yeah.
it's a knife.
Yeah.
It's a tool used in around the farm and it's available. Same with the axe. This is not just a battle axe, although there were some divine that were made for battles, but this was something you use on the farm, so you're armed. Helmets, again, a very expensive commodity. We've even cases where we found bodies of people with cooking pots on their head or wooden bowls. You think, oh, that's a bit silly. No, you want to protect your head, you want to come back from this. You can make on one raid enough to support you. So, you know, it pays to go raiding. It's a toss of the dice, you know. Yeah, you could do that, or you could end up being killed. Either way, you know, he pays your money and he takes your choice. You get a portion of the treasure that's taken, and who knows, you could make yourself a decent living.
So how come we have this image of the Vikings going raiding, but when it comes to the Anglo-Saxons, we don't have that same image, although they came and invaded England, Britain much earlier?
History is written by the winners and by the literate. We get accounts from the Romans, we get accounts from the Saxons, but we don't get accounts from the Vikings, who, for all intents and purposes, are literate until about the 11th, 12th century, by which time they were Christianized. And the Saxons obviously are going to make themselves look good. And if you're a monk, and it's mostly the monks who are literate, the last thing you want to do is to glorify the guys who come into your monastery, murder you and take you off into slavery. You're going to say, you know, Saxons good, Vikings bad. And that's what the case is with that. I think the average Viking in the street, the average Viking farmer, you'd find quite boring. Let's get it clear, we're talking about probably about 2-3% of society. We portray the top of society.
Well, we
we're,
do.
We're wealthy.
Agree.
The average Viking wouldn't even have trousers. They'd have a long skirta. They probably wouldn't even have an underskirt or undershirt, and they would be malnourished like everyone else. They'd have worms, parasites, all that kind of thing, and all they'd be interested in is talking about the crops they planted. The guys at the top would be sort of like rich lagerlouts, wouldn't they?
Oh yes, indeed they would.
Yeah, they'd be bragging all the time, getting drunk, fighting and abusing anything and everything.
So do we have any questions from the people watching this live stream right now as we get towards the end of the 30 minutes? I think this is a feature we're going to try to do every time we film. We'll just do a 30-minute live stream just to keep up with the live stream, because let's face it, it's good practice and it's good for you guys, and don't forget the ladies, the girls, to see us live on camera.
We're anxious to hear from the ladies.
Woof, as they would say.
Yeah, woof woof baby.
That's one of the problems with YouTube, it's mainly male dominated. It's about 90% to 10%.
Ah well, never mind.
But any more questions?
Yeah.
You know, just ask away. It's very interesting, isn't it? Viking culture and all that. And you know, we do have quite a bit of content planned for the future, and we're going to go out and film some more after this. So we'll have a little sit down and a drink of water, perhaps a coffee, and do some more filming.
I can't see a thing.
Yeah, I can, just about. I just hope they can. It's not too dark on the screen.
Just see shadow.
But well, it's interesting we get a good signal out here. I didn't think that would work. But until I watch it back later on, we won't see what kind of live stream. And if you get a chance, perhaps we might do one indoors later for half an hour. We'll see. Depends on how tired Egil is and how keen.
I have a long walk back.
You do have a long walk back, so at some point you get your bus pass sorted this year.
Yeah, you poor old man.
But I think just before we go, let's just talk about hospitality. There you are, you're having to go on a business trip. You know, you got to pick up some silver from somebody. Where would you stay? Where would you get lodgings? Where would you find a bed for the night?
Well, that depends on where you are. I mean, we see in the sagas, Egil's saga, that he stayed at various people's houses who he knew. Didn't always work out well.
So in those days they had networking.
Yeah, well, I mean, us two are pals, but even now, I mean, I live a couple of miles away, don't you?
Yes.
So, I mean, you imagine, you guy in Iceland, they go out raiding, and one might be in Norway, Egil got booted out of Norway, comes to England, pals with the King of England. So, you know, you build up trade networks and things like that.
But you also have places like mead halls, which today would be like an inn or a pub. You could also stay out and pay to stay.
You would tell if the place was selling mead or ale, because there would be a besom hanging out over the arch, witch's broom, and that would tell you that there's booze aplenty. So you'd probably get a meal and maybe a bed. Another thing is that there was a feast at Uppsala, where they would kill 7 male of everything, including humans. They would flay the skin of a horse, and when you put the skin on the roof, that meant it's open to drink. I mean, basically, you kill off 7 people, but you end up blasted out your mind for about a month.
Oh yes, and then you also, to a degree, I guess you had hospitals. They would have come in at some point in the medieval times.
Well,
you can go and stay at one of them.
Well, going on about, you know, we're going around people's houses getting blasted.
Yes.
When I worked in a factory, Christmas was an amazing place, this place in Ripley. And every house, it was like a U-shape, every house would stock itself up with booze.
Do you want to explain what that term means?
What's that?
Blasted. Because they may not understand that.
Drunk. Excessive.
Merry.
No, drunk. And this Crescent, particular place in Ripley, each house would be stocked up to the gunnels with booze. And everybody would go to one house, drink it dry, go to the next until you finished it.
I reckon that relates to concussion from war. So let's face it, if you're just being blasted by a big shoal, you're going to look like you're being concussed and you're walking around drunk, aren't you?
Well, I don't know, but my mate Charlie hadn't witnessed Christmas Day for 14 years because he'd gone into a coma. But yeah, possibly, you know, I mean, there are weird drinking customs, they are strange. You know, I mean, I drink, but not a great deal. I have had my fair share in the time.
Indeed.
But-
And let's just, before we finish this live stream, just talk about the 4th place in the medieval time you could find yourself somewhere to stay. And most
Ah.
common place would be monasteries. Monasteries were always put for putting people up on the road, weren't they, Egil?
Well, it's interesting. When I was a student, you imagine you're riding into town. The horse would be owned by the church. You tie it up to a post owned by the church. You go into a pub, which was owned by the church. You get blasted, and you pick up a lady of the night owned by the church. You fall.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah. And then you go to bed
It wasn't a nun.
with the said lady. No, I'm not going to get into that one. You then go into the boarding house with said lady.
A bad church.
Owned by the church. You wake up, you've got an illness, and you go to a doctor by the church who cures you, and you pay it, which goes to the church. There's a common theme.
There is a common theme. What is it? I wonder. Let me think.
You know, it's easy to poo-poo all that and say, oh, no, but the point is, it was a system and it worked. And if you're going travelling or you want horizontal jogging or whatever, it doesn't matter who owns it. Somebody, you know, even today, wherever you go, somebody is making a profit. I don't care whether it's the church or Mr. Smith or Mr. Singh or whatever. I don't care. As long as I get what I want, it's the fair price.
That's a good point. That fair price, fair value for your money.
And the church have got it right. You know, fair play to them. That's how you've got these marvellous cathedrals. And you know, it's. As I say, I'm not Christian, and it annoys me when people say, "Oh, the church has got all this." And yeah, the reason they've got all that wealth is so that if you want to drop in to your local church and say a prayer, that church is financed because of the big cathedrals.
Well,
and
of
what
course
they
so.
do.
I mean, look at Notre Dame, how they
Yeah.
can rebuild that. They have a lot of power, a lot of money.
They have a lot of power, but they don't necessarily. And it's not just the Catholics. It's not. They've got the power, but they don't choose to use it, and that's fair enough. There's, you know, this world is big enough for everything else. I mean, we have Judaism, we have Buddhism, we have Christianity, so why not paganism? And that fragments into many other things. But
Oh, we have 5 people watching now. Hello. Now,
Hi.
we are going to end this very soon, but any more comments, any questions? Let's have a look, see if I missed any, because they're not showing up for some reason.
we've just got a black screen at the moment.
Well, I can see it. Right, let me just go to live chat. So,
Oh, there's me.
you've got Finn Rafe, they say hi.
Hi.
And Martin Hale, have you guys played households in reenactment?
Very briefly.
Yes, a few occasions. We certainly have the role for it.
Yeah, there was a lot of egos there, wasn't there?
I just wanted to dress up and just go and beat up Saxons or Norman.
I
But
did.
it didn't really matter what I dressed as.
I'll be honest, I enjoyed the fighting. What got me was the politics. There's so much politics, I just got sick of it in the end. It's one of the things with reenactment societies that it starts off all a gang of guys just having fun, then you get all these other political, people believe they are who they are. Well, I was a mercenary slaver, so I was actually on
Got a
the
couple more
dole.
comments here.
Go on then.
So, Daniel Howe says,
Aye.
how about some live cooking demonstrations?
That would be great, but it's a bit more involved. I don't know.
Yes, it's something in the future we would look to do. Definitely the long-term aim of the channel is to fund some kind of authentic building we can film in. Whether we do it here or we do it at Menor Langley or some other estate or place that may want to have that.
We did have a friend of ours, Lynn.
Yes,
She was an excellent cook, and then there was the late Alan Barradale, who was an excellent cook.
but one of the problems we have is we don't have all the equipment we have to do that. So it just can take time to build up that equipment and kit to cook authentically. One thing we have discussed is discussing and talking about authentic recipes. Now I think that could be an introduction into cooking and just chatting about it, and then something we can do in the future. So yes, we have considered it.
Makes you wonder when you think the two people we know who cook, one's dead and the other's got seriously
Yeah,
health
but,
issues.
but to cook you need cauldrons, you need the cooking instruments, you know, quite a bit of the stuff we have, but quite a bit of the stuff we don't have.
We've
and,
got to check
you
out
know,
the health and safety as well.
To a degree, possibly, yes.
But I mean, there's hygiene problems and things like that. But I've had some jolly good feasts actually.
The alternative thing is we get somebody in to do that in the future.
Yeah,
So just bear us in mind with that. We'll look to that in the future.
worth thinking about.
As always, these things take time. So Finn Wave says, what about pagan ritual demonstration? What is your guys to do? What you guys do to honour the gods?
Right. One of the problems we have with the pagan ritual is literacy. Every house worshipped their gods, yeah, but they did it in a different way. Traditionally, the father is the head priest. Then you get a professional priesthood. So it's different from everyone. There are, even today, differences. I do my rituals my way. My friend Liverpool, she does them her way. And there are official organs like the Edenic Rite, things like that, which are longer and communal. Not everybody chooses to get together and do this. I personally do it on my own because there's nobody in Derby that bothered to come together with it, and you've got to make sure that you're not dealing with some weirdo, which is rich coming from me, I know.
Yeah, you're bound to attract them.
Oh yeah.
It does.
I mean, we had a case where one of them decided that he would violate Derby Cathedral. I mean, you know, there's a big hoo-ha about that. But make a guess, do what you feel is right. Read up on it. There are plenty of books out there. There are plenty of splinter groups of Norse. Use what you feel is right for you.
But will you do that on camera as a demonstration, or would that be too personal for yourself?
I personally wouldn't, because it's personal to me, and you guys would have different ideas. You can pick up with occult books what you want. I mean, you need an altar, you need various regalia. A sword is useful, a horn, a bowl, well, several bowls, one to contain water, one contains soil. You'll need candles, joss sticks, and things like that.
Well, perhaps a video about a guide to what you need could be good.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a picture at home of an altar which we can adapt.
I mean, I don't have one. I don't do that sort of thing because it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, well,
I don't need to do that to worship the gods. You know what I mean?
They can be very frustrating at times.
Let's look at the comments again. Bear with me as I get too close. Don't let me scare you. I've got a missing tooth at the moment. I need to get to the dentist.
Terry Thomas II.
Yeah, it could be a lockdown. It's been a bit difficult to get out, and I've got to put it back in.
Make one out of some boon.
I might have a gold one, Egil. One with a big diamond.
Like Mick Jagger, he's got a fancy tooth.
Oh, well, yeah.
Well, he's on a bit more money than you. Cracking guy.
So Andre says, I have 2 sets of runes now, but no idea what to do with them. Well, you could go back and look at our rune series.
Right.
That might give you a little
I'll
coat.
tell you, first of all, pick the rune set that you like. Carry them in your pocket in a bag with a cloth, and when you go to bed at night, put them under your pillow, and that way it's what's called charging them up.
There we go, the runes.
Yeah, these aren't Viking, well, they're Saxon ones, but I'll put them
Oh,
in
are
there.
they? I thought that's the old
Yeah.
first part.
But having said that, carry them with you as much as we can. As I say, put them under your pillow at night and cast. There are several books out there. I'm not going to recommend any because it's different for everyone. Alright, I will. The Runic Workbook by Tony Willis, that's a good one. It's a good basic common sense one. You may feel it's the best thing is go to a bookshop, a cult bookshop or whatever, read up. The more you know, the better you feel about it, and just keep doing it. I mean, I started off, my mum bought me my first one, and I thought it was just a history about runes. I didn't realise at the time it was about casting. And I've still got the runes from R.I. Page's book. I've had them 40 years, and they still work. Maybe you choose to make them yourself, whatever. It's whatever, you know, it's whatever lights your candle. But by all means, check out. There are some ludicrous runic books out there. There are some brilliant ones. So, you know, pay your money, you take your choice. You don't have to buy them. You can look in the shops and see what appeals to you.
Well, we are going to film some short videos on this for the YouTube short content about runes, and we will look to do some more content and film series too, of the rune series, which kind of got delayed with COVID last year, so we are kind of lagging behind with that, but don't worry about it, we will do it.
Doing our best.
But, you know, we really do so much.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we'll just look at your comments and we're going to go then. We've got some more filming to do, and we've quite enjoyed that live stream, haven't we, Egil? Gone a little bit over time, but don't worry. So, any more comments? Well, So Athena Promethea, I can't quite see because my screen's a bit too dark.
Athena.
Yeah, hang on, it's gone. Says, can you gentlemen chant?
I don't personally.
No, I don't.
I know what you mean. There are
Runic chants.
Yeah. I mean,
Ah,
well, I've got runic chants in books at home, and it's a bit difficult when I'm in a block of flats and I've got an old lady who lives next door. I mean, don't want to go in all weird on me, but there are also combined with that, if you want. Yes, you know, you've got repeating a chant, but you can also form your body into runes as well whilst you do it.
some more difficult than others.
Yeah, especially you know, Yara.
Yeah.
But there are books, and it's in Edward Thorson's book. If you have a look through his books, you do see the runic positions, and you know, if it works for you, go for it. But there's chants and yogic. Whether they did that or not, I don't know. We don't know. But if it works for you,
I've heard about them, so it'd be interesting to cover them in a video or two,
Yeah.
and just to understand how they work.
Yeah.
Now, Finn Wave says, are we going to plan to do some more live streams in the future?
Oh yeah.
Yes, as long as we can film and not in lockdown, you never know with this given situation. Every time Egil comes over, I'm going to put him on at least a live stream every time.
Well, it's great because it's contact for you, it's contact for us. I mean, Bragi and I
Yeah,
meet
it's
up.
not all about filming videos, is
No.
it?
Bragi and I meet up, you know, we don't sit here all the time going, oh, let's do this. We have a chat and get to catch up on the news. Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I mean, our friend Taiki,
Yes, about to mention Take Care.
he does his,
Taiki.
he does his filming from his flat. Haven't seen Taiki in a while. If you're watching, hi there. Oh,
Probably at work on the park.
yeah,
Hello.
yeah. But again, you know, a valuable part of our team.
Because that's another aspect Take Care has never done is a live stream, and they are very interesting, entertaining for us as well. I'm used to them.
To be fair, he has kept us going.
Well, we have kept us all
Yeah.
going, especially me.
Yeah.
I'm
This
going
guy
at
does
all.
all the work. And,
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the dog's body.
Well, he said.
So somebody says whose book? That's Tony Willis.
Tony Willis, the Runic Workbook. It's by Aquarius Press. You might be able to get it on YouTube.
It's a virtual book, visual, audio.
I don't know about that, but the Runic Workbook, he's done a couple of works, but that's the one you want. It's the beginner's
Yeah.
guide. It's in two sections. One, you know, you just have a read of history and you do casts and things like that, and later on you can lead you on to other things. For me, it was an eye-opener. That was Mr. Willis.
It may be out of print, but I'm not certain of that. But I think
Uh,
now and again you get second-hand copies come up on Amazon. But we're not here to recommend
No.
books.
Yeah.
So, normally I use a tablet, but my tablet's not charged, so I can't see the comments apart
See,
from on
to me,
here.
a tablet is something you take if you're ill.
So Daniel says, can you speak Old Norse?
No,
No, not really.
no, I can't. It's odd. Apparently, there was a program on with Alan Davis.
Yes.
And he learnt Old Cornish and things like that, and they understood him in Frisia, you know, in Frisia. So most of our languages are a mixture of various historic bits. I mean, you've got Latin, you've got Old Norse, a lot of Saxon, and various things like that. And in the accents, I mean, I'm from Kent, which is south. You get more sort of Saxony type things. Up here in Derby, you're getting a lot of Old Norse. I mean, Derby is a Viking town, as you know, or not know.
It's interesting how the word mesmerise comes from the man Mesmer, who was a very famous hypnotist in the early 20th century
Well,
or 19th century. Look like the other day.
It was described to me at university. If you imagine a meteor going
Yes.
through space,
Yeah.
and as it goes, it picks up debris, the language. Bits fly off and disappear into nowhere. Sometimes bits fly off and are reattached, and then you pick up other bits that stick. And some Americanisms are actually Old English. You know, you've heard of faucets. That's a 17th century term for a tap.
The thing about studying and learning Old English or Old Norse, it does take a long time to study, and you've got to have the dedication to do that. So perhaps in time, we're thinking of trying to find somebody to come on the channel to teach you Old English, perhaps. But to bear with us with that.
The book that you can do is get is Sweet's Anglo-Saxon Primer. That's highly academic. I had a look at it and I didn't understand the word of it. And of course, the famous author J.R.R. Tolkien could speak Old Norse and Saxon, so I think he wrote a primer as well. Where to go for it?
Yes, he has got a book.
Yeah, the best bet is if you're in Oxford, you go to the big bookshop there.
Well, you got YouTube. There's plenty of people that teach those languages on YouTube.
But
Look at your comments again. Still got
like pronunciation.
7 people watching. I've just got to look at the comments. Jackson Crawford, yes, is a very good channel. And Mesmer, yes.
Yeah.
So Egil is the blue cap, Bragi is the white. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm Bragi, and that's Egil.
Howdy, hi.
But we do have a 4th person joining the channel, don't we?
What's that?
Neil Sigmundson.
Oh, Neil Sigmundson.
He is coming back.
It'd be nice to meet him again. I haven't seen him for a while. He's a busy boy at the moment, helping out with the COVID tests.
No, he's just delivering medical equipment.
Well, that's it, those tests to make sure.
No, he just delivers beds and stuff like that.
Oh, right.
But he has got a little bit of content on the channel, and he just want to come back and film some more videos for you guys.
He's a great bloke.
Yeah.
You know, I've known him for 20 plus years.
We'd be like the 4 Musketeers.
Yeah.
I'm definitely D'Artagnan, the youngest. Which one are you, the 3 Musketeers?
I'm the oldest.
You're the one that drinks, aren't you?
Yeah.
Are you the womanising one?
I wish. When you think I'm 10 years older than Jarl and what's his name?
Egil and Bragi, that's right.
How old are you, incidentally?
But that's the myth at my age. Daniel says, are there any Viking themed villages up north? Yes, there's a couple.
There is.
Your friend, York.
Yeah, Jorvik.
Yarrow.
Yarrow. If you go through, as you enter York, you can either take the road, or is it the M6?
Yeah.
Into York, or you carry straight on. Well, you carry straight on, and there's a village, Viking village.
It's no good if they live in Canada right now.
No, you never know. They travel.
And if they live in Australia, well, you're not getting out until 2024.
They'll still be there. But also, if you get the chance to go to York, Jorvik Viking Centre is a must. It's great. I love York anyway, but I'm biased. I went there as a student and fell in love with it.
So Andre says, Egil is Porthos, Bragi is D'Artagnan. Who would take here be?
I don't say I'm not.
He'll be the religious one.
Oh, right.
Or, who knows?
Oh, dear. Sorry.
I think Sinbad and Niall and Tirka can have a fight to decide which ones the D'Artagnans left over they're going to be.
It's odd. Jarl is known by so many names.
He is indeed. Yeah, it's often known as Sinbad or Sinbad.
Yeah.
So hello, you're watching. We've got another comment here. So are there any places? This is from Finrave, named after Norse gods like Scandinavia and here in Finland.
Yeah, I mean, there's a place in York called Ing's Way, and that's another name for the Lord Frey, and that's out of York. But yeah, I mean, Woden'sfield. Is it Odensfield?
Oh yes, you got the River Thor, up in Derbyshire, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, there's Thor's Cavern, which is Neolithic.
Thor Dyke.
Yeah, there's a number of places that we see them and we just don't register it because it's not in our remit to know it. But yeah, there are a lot of places, and it's interesting. You maybe trace the Norwegians and the Danes. There's a lot in Derbyshire because obviously the Norse settled here quite a lot. But
you know what this means now? We can live stream outside. We can do some combat live on camera. That'll cheer Egil up.
Not tonight.
Not tonight, no, Egil.
I'm comfortable.
Odin's Thorhof is in the US.
Yeah.
Yes, there's loads of them. Perhaps we'll compile a list.
It's also interesting to know that all over the world there are derbies. There's
of course,
Australia, America, Canada.
Quite a few in America.
Yeah.
But then you also get the term derby.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Derby's a nice place. If you're around, come and visit. They've got an excellent museum. I know I'm biased because I used to work there, but it is an interesting place. The Heritage Centre unfortunately is gone, but there's some interesting places.
Right, we're definitely going to go now. We've got some more filming to do and we need a coffee. So thank you very much guys for joining our live stream. I'm glad this worked out in the garden, and I will publish this later on, if it's not already published when I exit this video. So.
Please keep sending us your comments because we'd like to hear from you.
And keep safe.
Yeah, be safe.
Keep smiling.
Because we want to see you in the future.
And as Egil says, let's make the world
a happier place.